I want you to picture the first 10 minutes of your day. You know, it's usually on autopilot, right?
For sure.
You wake up, grab the phone, maybe squint a bit because the screen's too bright, and you go to check your email or your DMs. It's just a muscle memory.
Yep.
But imagine you tap that icon, and instead of your inbox, you get a login screen. And you think, that's weird, I'm always logged in.
Right.
So you type your password, it says no. You try again, slower this time. Still no, now you're awake. You hit forgot password, expecting a reset link, but the recovery email on the screen, it starts with a letter you don't recognize and ends in a domain you've never even heard of.
And that is the exact moment where annoyance, turns into genuine dread.
Mm-hmm.
Because you realize this isn't some glitch.
It's that realization that your digital keys have been changed and someone else is inside the house. Today, we were doing a deep dive into account hijacking.
Yeah.
And we aren't just talking about losing a password. We're talking about losing your identity.
It's a huge topic and honestly one of the most invasive things that can happen to someone online. To help us navigate this, we're actually working with some really comprehensive research from our friends at WeCyberYou.
Which brings us to today's mission. Welcome, everyone, to the WeCyberYou Unlocked podcast. We're going to use this source material to really break down the mechanics of the hijack. How do they actually get in?
What are they doing while you're locked out?
And crucially, how do we build a fortress that actually keeps them out for good?
I think the definition WeCyberYou provides is a really good place to start. They define account hijacking as a cyber attack where a threat actor gains unauthorized access and control over a user's online account.
And control is the key word there.
It is. But the phrase that really chills me is what they add next.
Yeah.
Often without the victim's immediate knowledge.
Like that's the silent part of the break-in. It's not a smashed window. You could be making coffee while someone is reading your private messages from halfway across the world.
And the damage starts instantly. The source points out that once they have access, they aren't just looking around. They're impersonating you. They're abusing the trust you've built with every single person in your contact list. It's a launch pad.
Your account becomes a weapon.
A weapon used against your friends, your colleagues.
Okay, so let's get into the how. I think a lot of us have this, Hollywood image of a hacker typing furiously, cracking codes on a green screen.
Yeah, not quite.
But the reality described in the source material is a lot more, practical. It feels less like breaking the lock and more like just stealing the key.
That's a great way to put it. The source outlines three main ways they get in. And the first one is purely psychological: phishing and social engineering.
This is the human element. This is hacking the person, not the computer.
It's all manipulation.
Yeah.
And we need to get past this idea that phishing is just some badly spelled email from a prince offering millions.
Right.
Modern social engineering, like it's described here, is all about urgency and authority. You get a notification that looks identical to a Microsoft or a Google security alert saying, "Unauthorized login detected. Click here to secure your account."
Which is so ironic because clicking is the one thing that makes you unsecure.
It exploits your fear. You panic, you want to fix it, so you click and you type your credentials into a fake page. And that's it. You've just handed them everything on a silver platter.
It's like someone showing up at your door in a uniform saying there's a gas leak. You don't ask for ID, you just let them in because you're scared of an explosion.
Exactly. And once you open that door, they're in. But, that relies on you making a mistake in the moment. The second category, credential stuffing, relies on mistakes you made years ago.
This is the one that always frustrates me. It's why the use a unique password advice is so important.
This is exactly why. So here's how it works. Let's say a fitness app you used 5 years ago gets breached. Hackers dump that whole database, millions of usernames and passwords, onto the dark web. Attackers then use bots to take those combinations and just throw them at completely different sites. They'll try that old email and password on your Amazon, your Netflix, your bank.
So they aren't guessing. They're literally just trying a key they found in the gutter to see if it opens your front door.
And because so many people reuse passwords like, Fedo 1985 or something, that door often opens. It's a numbers game. They try 1 million keys, they might get 1,000 hits. But for those 1,000 people, it's a really bad day.
And that's different from brute force, right? The source makes that distinction.
Yeah, brute force is more like trying to smash the lock. It's trying every possible combination of letters and numbers. It's noisy. It takes a long time. There's also password spraying, where they try one common password like summer 2025 against thousands of different usernames.
Just walking down the hallway trying every doorknob.
Exactly. But the third method in the WeCyberYou material is the one I think people understand the least, and it's maybe the most dangerous because it can bypass the password entirely. Session hijacking.
Okay, this is the one that feels like digital pickpocketing. Can you break down how that actually works? How do you log in without a password?
Okay, think about it like this. You go to a music festival. You buy a ticket, that's your password. You get to the gate, the bouncer checks it, and then they clip a wristband on you.
Right. And for the rest of the day, I just flash the wristband to get into the different stages. I don't have to show my ticket over and over.
That wristband is your session token.
Okay.
When you log into, say, Facebook, the server gives your browser a session token, this long string of code that basically says this user is authenticated. It's why you don't have to type your password every single time you click on a new email.
Okay, so the hacker isn't trying to steal my ticket. They're trying to cut the wristband off my arm and put it on theirs.
Perfect analogy. If you're on an unsecured Wi-Fi at a coffee shop, or if you click a malicious link that runs a script, an attacker can literally intercept that session token. They load it into their browser, and the website thinks they're you.
And the server doesn't ask for the password again?
The bouncer sees the wristband and just lets them right through. This is why it's so insidious. It bypasses the login screen. It can even bypass two-factor authentication because the system thinks the authentication part already happened.
That is terrifyingly efficient. The source also mentions malware and keyloggers, which I guess is the last technical method.
Right, that's the spy on the wire.
Yeah.
If you get malware on your device, it can just record every single keystroke. You could have a 50-character password, but if you're typing it on an infected machine, the attacker is just reading it as you go.
So, okay, the walls are high, but there are ladders everywhere. Let's talk about what happens when they get over the wall. The source material outlines the immediate aftermath, and it starts with what they call the lockout.
This is move number 1 in the playbook. Once they're in, they change the password. But a smart attacker goes further. They change the recovery email. They change the phone number linked to the account.
They're bolting the door from the inside.
Exactly. And that feeling of helplessness is the entire point. You are now just an observer as your own life gets dismantled, which leads to what the source calls the impersonation game.
This is where reputation and trust come in. And I feel like this part is so undervalued. People worry about money, but your reputation is way harder to get back.
Oh, absolutely. Think about your email or your social media. It is a verified channel of you. If an attacker sends a message from your account to your mother saying, "I'm in trouble, I need cash," she believes it.
Of course she does. It's coming from me.
If they email your boss with a corrupt file, your boss opens it. You become the vector.
You're patient zero for everyone you know.
We call that the ripple effect. The source mentions that hijacked accounts are constantly used to distribute malware or more phishing links. The attacker burns your credibility to catch their next victims.
And then, of course, there's the direct theft.
Right, the financial and data theft. If they get into a shopping account, sure, they buy some stuff. But the data theft is more insidious. They scrape your personal info, your address, your history. That data gets sold or used for identity theft down the line.
You know, the source brings up a really critical point here about high-value targets. It lists email accounts as the master key. I think most people probably protect their bank account more than their email, but this suggests that's completely backward.
It is completely backward. Your email is the central hub of your entire digital life. But more importantly, it is the reset mechanism for everything else.
The forgot password loop.
Exactly. If I control your email, I can go to your bank, your social media, your cloud storage, and I just click forgot password.
Where does that reset link go?
To the email you now control.
To me. I can lock you out of everything you own probably in about 20 minutes once I have your email.
That's the domino effect. And the source also mentions workplace accounts, which connects to that big one, business email compromise, or BEC. This is where the stakes become corporate. If an attacker hijacks an employee's email, they can just lurk. They read the threads. They learn how the finance director talks. They learn when invoices are due.
They study their prey.
And then at the perfect moment, they send an email from that legitimate account saying, "Hey, our vendor changed their bank. Please wire the payment to this new account." And because it's coming from a real internal account, security filters don't catch it. Companies lose millions this way.
It's so sophisticated. It's not a smash and grab. It's a long con.
So how do we spot this? The source lists some warning signs, but some of them seem pretty subtle.
Yeah, you have to be a detective in your own life. I mean, the obvious one is getting locked out, but you want to catch it before then. The source highlights unrecognized login alerts.
You know, I feel like we get so many notifications, we just get blind to them. New login from Chrome in New York. We just swipe it away. And you have to stop swiping. If you didn't just log in from New York, that notification is the only warning you might get. It's the smoke alarm. You have to investigate.
Hmm.
Also, look for the quiet changes. Did your account settings change? Did a forwarding rule suddenly appear in your email that sends a copy of every message to some stranger's address?
Or messages in your sent folder that you didn't write.
Exactly. If you see outgoing mail you didn't send, you are already compromised. It's happening.
Okay, let's pivot to defense. We know the enemy, we know the tactics. WeCyberYou provides a really clear roadmap for locking down the fortress. And it starts with the basics: strong, unique passwords.
And the emphasis there has to be on unique. We talked about credential stuffing. The only defense against that is making sure that if one site gets hacked, that password works nowhere else.
Which brings us to password managers.
Yeah.
The source recommends them, and I feel like it's just mandatory at this point.
It really is. The human brain was not designed to memorize 50 different 16-character alphanumeric strings. A password manager does all the heavy lifting for you. You just have to remember one strong master password.
Okay, now let's talk about the heavy hitter. The gold standard, according to the source: multi-factor authentication, MFA.
If there is one thing listeners take away from this, it should be this. Turn on MFA everywhere you possibly can.
So why is it so effective, even against the stuff we've been talking about?
Well, think about the layers. Authentication is usually based on something you know, like a password, something you have like your phone, or something you are, like your fingerprint. Most attacks just steal the something you know,
The password.
the password.
Yeah.
But if you have MFA enabled, the attacker hits a wall. They put in the stolen password, but the system then says, okay, great, now enter the 6-digit code that just popped up on your phone.
Which they don't have.
They're in a basement in another country. They don't have your phone.
Yeah.
So the attack stops dead, it neutralizes phishing to an extent, and it completely stops credential stuffing. Now, is it perfect? No.
Right.
We mentioned session hijacking. That can get around it. And there are new attacks like MFA fatigue, where they just spam you with push notifications, hoping you'll accidentally click approve.
So the advice is definitely enable it, but if you get a random MFA prompt when you aren't trying to log in, you hit deny. Don't just click OK to make the buzzing stop.
Precisely. And that's the behavioral change the source talks about. Be cautious. Slow down for a second.
The source also mentions technical hygiene, keeping your devices updated. It sounds like the eat your vegetables of cybersecurity.
It is boring, but it's vital. Those software updates, they often contain security patches for the exact vulnerabilities malware uses to get in. If you ignore the update, you're basically just leaving the window open.
So putting it all together, it's a mix of tools, MFA, password managers, and also a mindset, being a little more skeptical of that urgent email, checking your active sessions.
It's all about raising the cost for the attacker. You don't have to be unhackable. That's probably impossible. You just have to be a harder target than the person next to you. Attackers are opportunistic. If you have MFA and unique passwords, they'll just move on.
That's a really empowering way to look at it. We aren't helpless.
Not at all. We just have to use the locks they give us.
Before we wrap this up, I want to leave everyone with a final thought. We spent a lot of time talking about the lockout, the loud, obvious hijack. But I keep coming back to the idea of a silent hijack.
The surveillance aspect.
Yeah. I mean, if a hijacker's goal isn't to steal your money today, but just to gather intel, how long could someone be sitting in your account before you noticed? If they're not changing passwords or posting weird things, but just reading your emails, checking your calendar, seeing where you'll be next Tuesday.
It turns your own device into a listening post against you.
Exactly. So my challenge to you, the listener, is this. When was the last time you actually went into your Google or Microsoft settings and looked at your list of active sessions? You might find a device logged in from 3 years ago or from a city you've never even visited.
That is a chilling but a very necessary reality check. Digital hygiene isn't a one-time setup. It's a constant process.
Well, this has been an incredible look under the hood of account hijacking. A huge thank you to WeCyberYou for providing all the detailed data and research that really powered this deep dive.
It's a great reminder that understanding the threat is the absolute first step to beating it.
Absolutely. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please make sure to follow this channel, the WeCyberYou Unlocked podcast. For more deep dives and educational cybersecurity content just like this, head on over to WeCyberYou.com.
Stay curious and stay secure.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.